Hello and welcome. Today we have a very special interaction with a company that is giving enthusiasts the highest octane of fuel. Now, this is really important for all the supercar owners. Indian Oil has launched XP100, which is a 100 octane fuel. And talking to me about it is none other than the chairman himself, Mr. Shrikant Madhav Vaidya. Mr. Vaidya, thanks so much for talking to us. Actually, it comes as quite a surprise. I mean, you've gone bang right for 100 octane. So in the octane race, I think you've just come out on top. So just a thought, why 100? Why not 99, 97? What was the rationale behind it? And I'm sure, there's even a cost as you kind of put additives to give the higher octane rating.
The first, Indian Oil being the leader, we had to make a statement.
It's quite a statement.
And nothing can be better than 100. That is from the statement point of view. But you also need to have the streams available with your refineries to make 100 octane. So at Mathura refinery, we have those streams available. We have got the indigenous technology there, Octomax, which is a R&D developed technology. And that Octomax is giving me an octane of 120. So all these streams, I have the capability in terms of technical capability, I mean. So
Right.
I had to make 100, and it was very much visible at the refinery level. I mean, that is the main thing, what you can understand.
Correct.
That I'm not making it at some terminal or depot level. I'm making it at my refinery level. And then it is transported by like any other normal MS.
So, from a business case point of view, Mr. Vaidya, obviously this will be a very niche kind of product, and the scale of your operations. So, how does it work? Is it going to be very select outlets? Is it more, as you said, a statement more to do with marketing than actually as a business case? What's really been the rationale of giving this fuel, or do you think the time is right? We've got the cars and the high compression engines also that need it.
Actually, you said it. I mean, the main thing is the market is getting cultivated in India like never before. We have got this high-end niche segment, and they were really looking for a fuel to the tune of 100 octane. So we have selected 10 cities now at the moment, and eventually from 1st of January, we'll be adding more to that. And of course, we are open. I mean, looking at the feedback, how it is happening, we'll go to more and more ROs in the existing cities also. So it is not just only a statement, it also a business proposition and basically catering to the needs of this niche segment. I mean, there was a need for this, we felt, and we thought as a leader in the business of petroleum products, it was our duty to ensure that the customer get what he desires.
Right. And, just to understand, what's been the response so far? I know early days, you've just launched it. How's the response been? Has it been encouraging? Or in this day of very high fuel prices, it could be a bit of a dampener?
No, I'm very happy to tell you the response has been extremely good. And so we are really encouraged. I mean, it is beyond the expectation at the moment. And so we will certainly replicate more on retail outlets in the days to come in the select 10 cities now. And as you know, from 1st of January, we are launching in six more cities. So I think the number is going to go up as the days go by. And I'm very happy to tell you that from 1st of January, I'm making one more refinery of mine, that is Barauni refinery, that is in Bihar, also capable to make 100 octane. So I will have multiple supply points. Eventually, even Paradeep will supply. So I will have supply points all over the country. I mean, that is the strength of Indian Oil. We have got a pan-India presence. And that's what we are going to leverage.
Absolutely. So bringing high octane literally across the breadth of the country, I think that is the aim. So I think from what I understand, your strategy is not only to have the highest octane rating, but to have the maximum spread as well, or the widest network throughout the country.
Exactly.
Right. And, just again, looking at the market, in this day of the timing, you launch it at a time when, let's say taxes on fuel have gone up. There have been some compelling reasons to take the, hike prices of fuel more from a taxation point of view. Obviously, price of crude is not that high. But what is your sense? I mean, in the dynamics in terms of timing, one would imagine, this may not have been the opportune time to launch such a product. Or do you feel that fuel prices might eventually come down once we get out of this pandemic and the things get back to normal as much as possible?
See, I would rather put the timings to the kickstart of the economy. See, you must be seeing all over the country, the economy is really picking up now.
Right.
And let me tell you that since the month of November, all my refineries are running at more than 100% level. That is the pre-COVID levels.
Right.
So I looked at it from that point of view, that the economy is picked up, is really raring to go. And so we thought this is the right time to introduce this product, because that will be in sync with the very positive economic growth that is the country is witnessing now. So it was more from that point of view.
And Mr. Vaidya, can you give me a sense as to what's the sort of demand 100 octane will have? I know it's very hard to say in terms of percentage. I'm sure it'll be 0.00 something percent, not very high.
But I mean, it's very early days to give you a number.
Right.
But I assure you that maybe in a month's time or maybe a quarter's time, we can share the numbers with you, which will be, because let the other 6 cities also come.
Right.
So we'll be in a position to know. So give me some time.
Right. And once you have more scale and the fact that other refineries, are going to be producing it, perhaps your logistics costs will come down.
Yes, exactly.
Did we see some rationalization in price also of 100 octane?
Actually, frankly, the segment for which we have launched this product, I don't think they will be more looking at the price, but they will be looking at the performance, enhanced performance that this very superior gasoline gives.
Right.
So I think we'll leave it there on that part.
Okay.
I mean, they'll have a much better driving experience.
Right.
Having these high-end cars or bikes, I think that is more important for that.
Right. And Mr. Vaidya, just from a slight technical point of view, for some of our viewers who are more technically inclined, can you just explain to us, the kind of production of 100 octane? What are the kind of additives needed, and what are the processes in the refineries you need to do? Because clearly, your background also, the refinery, you're from that stream, which you know very well. So just to understand, are let's say the additives very expensive, and that's what also adds to the cost of the fuel?
Yeah, I want to tell you that we are banking minimal on the additives. Right. See, the refinery has got multiple streams, So each stream has got its own characteristics. Like suppose there is a stream from a reformer, a unit called reformer. Its octane is 100 plus already, but it is a high aromatic stream.
Right.
And there is a limit
of aromatics, yeah.
So, and we have a limit of aromatics in the final gasoline.
A double chain car.
Those benzene rings, aromatics.
That's right, yeah.
So that needs to be limited. So the limited role this aromatic stream can play. Then olefins. Olefins also are very high. Olefins is that double chain, what you're saying.
Right.
They're also very high octane. So we have a stream of very high, like this Octomax. It's a high olefinic stream. 120 octane. But then again, it finds a limited space in the overall, because I have to meet the final specifications.
Correct.
So all these streams put together, which Indian Oil, as a company, I can tell you that we have got all the units available with us. So with this, all the available streams, we are able to make this with a very marginal additive dosing. So that is my strength. That's what I was telling you. The capability of Indian Oil is very high because we have got all the units, and all these units have got a unique USP in enhancing the octane, but remaining within the MS spec. So that was the whole thing about.
So, very interesting. We talked about double chain hydrocarbon compounds, olefins, aromatics. Is there a bit of a balance between what you can do? Because, these things tend to go on the regulations against it because of health issues. So is that a balance? And, sometimes the octane also, as a result, there's a bit of a balance you have to achieve between the desired octane rating and the limit with which you can use some of these compounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where I use a high aromatic stream, if I am left to myself, it can go in a much larger percentage. But since we have a limit of benzene, maximum 1.5%, that is why there are various technologies, each having its own strength, so that in the final blend, all the MS characteristics are met and still we get a high octane.
Right. And, I just want to talk a little bit on BS6. I think we saw the transition during the pandemic. I think it was an amazing achievement, both of the OEMs and, of course, the oil industry. You all did it in record time. I don't think you all have got enough of a pat on the back to have achieved a nationwide kind of production or distribution of BS6. Just wanted to understand the journey. What were the challenges? Was that very challenging? Because, to switch from BS4 to BS6 and even BS3 earlier, because, it was a twin kind of fuel situation before uniform BS6. So, was that really difficult, and how is the situation right now?
I'm very happy you asked this question, because COVID really robbed us of all the shine, When
Absolutely.
actually BS6 was launched on 1st April, it happened such a silently. We couldn't even have a bash, because it was really a great achievement. First and
Absolutely.
foremost, it was done in a record 3 years' time. Now,
Right.
Europe had taken nearly 7 to 8 years to switch from Euro 5 to Euro 6. We did in 3 years. And the most important point was I had to maintain my supplies of BS4 and still get ready for BS6. So all the refineries were having multiple shutdowns. We had to do a hot job in the refinery when adjoining unit is under shutdown. So it was a Herculean task. And if you remember, BS3 to BS4, the switchover was not at one stroke.
No,
It was phased out. There were
absolutely.
a number of cities which happened, and then that was a very gradual phase out. This was within one stroke. And you can imagine more than 50,000 ROs. I'm talking for the oil industry now. Each of them, all the pipelines, they have to be flushed. All the tanks have to be flushed at the pipeline location, at the refinery, and at the retail outlet. We could do it as a industry. I mean, as Indian Oil, we did it about 15 days in advance. On 16th of March, we were ready, and the industry also did a fantastic job. So
Right.
it was a Herculean task. The logistics was so demanding, but we still could do it. And then, unfortunately, we couldn't even celebrate.
But Mr. Vaidya, in some ways, did the lockdown in a way help you? The fact that demand also had suddenly dropped. Were there any advantages? Any advantages you kind of got out of the lockdown in that sense?
From a refiner's perspective, no. In fact, my refineries are running at suboptimal levels
Right.
from the month of April onwards. And there was a slight improvement in July, but again, the
So,
statewide
what I meant was
lockdown.
from the switchover point from BS4 to BS6. I mean, did that, or did you you had to be ready before 1st April pan India, because obviously even Supreme Court had said you can't sell cars after 1st April. Of
Yeah.
course, that got pushed with the pandemic and all that. But I think so. Were you actually targeting a full BS pan India BS6 rollout before the 1st of April?
See, we didn't want to take it to the 1st of April because that is becoming playing too
On the
tight
edge. Right.
to the edge. So we always had a plan to do it by mid-March, and we succeeded in that.
Right.
And I must compliment the automobile industry also. I mean, they also really rose to the occasion. I mean, it was a great synergy between the automobile industry and the oil industry, and we could achieve this target.
Right. And Mr. Vaidya, while we're on the topic of octane rating, you've done 100 octane rating. I'll be honest, the industry was hoping that the base octane would have at least been 93. It's now 91. Especially going forward to meet CAFE norms, and 2023, there's going to be a stricter emission norms. Is there any hope of the octane rating going up? I can understand there was a huge cost going from BS4 to BS6, and on top of that, to increase octane rating may have been too much to ask for from a investment perspective. But 91 seems a bit low from let's say a global standard.
Yeah, in fact, we had a discussion with SIAM also just before the launch of BS6 XP100. So again, the same sentiment was echoed. So certainly the industry, but you're right, we will need investment. So we are making plans because you need some additional units, so that my octane pool goes up. I think, but we are on the job. We'll chalk out the roadmap very shortly, but it will happen, of course.
Right. That's good to know. And lastly, Mr. Vaidya, just talking about Indian Oil as a corporation, you're by far, number one in the sector. Is there how is it going forward now? I mean, a lot of people are predicting the demise of the IC engine. I don't think that's going to happen in a hurry. I think, in fact, it's going up, and we have seen that today. Petrol and diesel is a great source of revenue also for governments. I don't know how they're going to tax electricity if EVs come. The future, are you concerned in the sense that electrification might make you think for, let's say, different alternatives for energy, and what are your thoughts over there? Or do you think it's going to be a long time before we really see the end of the IC engine?
Well, first and foremost, we should understand clearly that India is an energy hungry country. Our per capita energy consumption is just 1/3 of the globe. So we are galloping by leaps and bounds. So every form of energy has a place, because the Indian energy bouquet will have all forms of energy. In fact, all the energy outlooks, what you might see, BP or whatever, they all predict that by 2050, the oil demand in the country will go up from 5 million barrels a day now to 10 million barrels a day. So obviously it's going to be there. Oil is going to be there, but so will other forms of energy come. And the road to energy transition is different for every country. Now, what is applicable for US or for the OECD countries? For me, the path is different. Gas will play a big role in the Indian economy. Like what the government's ambition also is to go from 6.2% to 15% in the energy pie. So that will be one of the biggest roads to energy transition for India. Then cleaner fuels from the oil sector, that will be also one more factor. Of course, EV will come, renewables will come. So all these forms of energy will supplement each other. And overall, the energy pie of the country will be made up. But then there is a place for everybody. And energy efficiency, I think the single biggest point to reduce the greenhouse gases will be the energy efficiency. You yourself must have seen how the automobile sector is a classic example, how over a period of time the efficiency has gone up by leaps and bounds. So I think that will be also one more factor for which the greenhouse gas reduction will happen. Then one more big game changer in India will be the compressed biogas that is made from the municipal solid waste or from the agricultural waste, which the government is driving because it not only helps the rural economy, but it also gives me a renewable fuel. So compressed biogas, increased natural gas, renewables, and of course, POL, conventional products. So all of them, they have a place, everybody has a place in the growing economy of our country.
Right. So I just want to pick on one thing you said, which is, a greenhouse gas and obviously CO2. Quite frankly, we know that diesels actually are fantastic in that respect. Their inherent thermal efficiency is 20-25% better than petrol. But of course, they've been vilified, and we are seeing a shift towards petrol because a lot of cars, diesels did not meet BS6 norms and they've been phased out. Just want to get a sense, are you seeing a huge shift in, let's say, consumption towards petrol away from diesel? And, your thought also on diesel being, actually a pretty efficient and a very practical fuel. And in Euro 6 form, where you've got very low sulfur content and it meets, low levels of NOx, which is, again, a big issue. Particulates are also taken care of. I personally feel it's been vilified a lot, but I just want to give you a sense.
I agree with you. In fact, a BS6 diesel engine emission is as good as a gas engine. So it's really cleaned itself up. The NOx levels are down.
Correct.
And one more thing I want to say is that we have recently conducted a study, or rather not a study, it's a pilot going on in the Rajghat depot of Delhi, DTC, where we are introduced these H-CNG engines.
Okay.
The hydrogen spiked CNG engines. So we have spiked the conventional CNG with 18% hydrogen. It's also a patented R&D technology of Indian Oil. And you'll be very happy to know, because the experiment has already started a couple of months back. 50 buses are running on that. The efficiency of the engine has gone up by about 5%. Wow. They consume less fuel. And also the emission norms are near BS6 engines. So this is a BS4 engine. Please remember, it's a BS4 engine of the bus with HCNG. I'm getting near BS6 emissions with fuel economy. So I think if the HCNG, we are confident it will click, but that time period is 6 months. So after 6 months, we can scale it up in many, many locations.
That's very interesting, because I think CNG, the biggest problem is the volumetric efficiency is quite poor. Being a gas, it's not the same as liquid. So, and even the drive feel is not good. So even from a customer point of view, it's not great. I think for public transport, it's fine. But do you think this could have an application even for private vehicles? Because right now, CNG vehicles, they are there, but they're only done for economy and nothing else. Unlike diesels, which give you economy and even a good drive feel.
Yeah, so presently we are targeting diesel because and more for public transport, because then we are getting a conglomerate of buses in one location where we can put up this facility. So presently it's for diesel, and it is really going to be a game changer. I'm telling you that in the days to come.
Right. And lastly, Mr. Vaidya, the consumers, what can they look forward to in terms of any more products? Obviously, you're doing a lot in the lube space. Are we going to see an expansion in the network, or do you think there's going to be a cap on that? But as you said, if oil consumption is going to go up, fuel consumption is going to go up, there is a need to kind of even expand the, let's say, existing network. Yeah. So are we going to see some of that in the future?
We will. And since you have touched lubes, I mean, we are doing great research and development in lubes also, because our R&D, let me just take you back, because today is that Vijay Divas, so it makes sense to take you back. After the 71 war, there was a need felt that we should have a indigenous R&D working exclusively on lubes. And that was the trigger by which our R&D was established after the war. And so now we have come a long way. And now we have got some combo packages for lubes, for the diesel engine especially, which when used together, engine oil, gear oil, they give a fuel efficiency of 3 to 4% also. Right. So I think we are making leaps and bounds progress in lubes, and we have got a fantastic R&D center. In fact, once the COVID gets over, you can come and visit our R&D. It's really worth a deco, as they say, and you will really be impressed that an oil company, a PSU oil company, having such a well-established R&D, I mean, it's worth a look. So all these factors of lubes, we are really, that's our core strength also among all the oil companies in India. Nobody has an R&D that I have. And that also is adding to my lube value.
And also, as we spoke about, you've got high octane fuel, so obviously catering to these very high performance engines. I would imagine the lube space, you're going more and more into synthetics and low viscosity fuels.
And what that combo pack I said, that was for the diesel engines, basically.
Right. That's right. So no, I'm saying for petrols also, are you looking at in synthetics?
I mean, it's an ongoing process, but what I actually was telling you was for the diesel engine, because we are a diesel economy. So we have to basically concentrate more and more on the diesel engines also.
Right. So that's great, Mr. Vaidya. Thanks so much for speaking to us, and really congratulations. You've hit a good century with 100 octane, and wish you all the best. I'm sure a lot of enthusiasts, people who have high performance cars, will be really happy with this news. And thanks so much for talking to us, and wish you all the best.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, and thank you very much. And take care and stay healthy and safe.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.